With that, we're going to move directly to the good news.
So, Mr. Rupp, Jerry, come on in.
Come on in.
Come on up front. This, for new board members, we give recognition to state participants, and we really had a great winter season. Mr. Rupp here is to talk about the swim season and our state participants as well. So, Jerry?
Yeah, so we had a great season this year. I've got a really young team. It seems like every year I've got basically a middle school team going against varsity kids because we're a 7 through 12 program. So we're pretty heavy laden on the lower end. We didn't have a junior class this year, so you know the guys did the best they could with their talent level and trying to compete with kids who are a lot bigger than them. We got to state. We made got two guys that made it to state, Jackson Gergen and John Rupp. They did very well. It was nice to see them both qualify for 2 individual events apiece. So to get that was kind of one of my main goals, was to get them there in 2 events. They made it. We also were hoping to get a relay, just missed by 3/100ths of a second, if you can imagine that.
Wow.
Close. So so then at state, then Jackson was in the 50-yard freestyle, the premier sprint event, and also the 100-yard breaststroke. He ended up placing, was it 12th in the 50 free, and then he was also 18th in the 100-yard breaststroke, which was a great job for him because he broke the 1 minute mark in the 100-yard breaststroke, which is a huge
Excellent.
accomplishment. There's only been 3 kids in the history, 40 years of Hastings swimming, have broken a minute. He's one of the 3, and he's actually number 2 on the all-time list. So that's pretty cool. Like I say, he just missed making it back to the finals, top 16 go back. Very close. It was a very tough event this year. So nice to see him do that, lifetime best in both the swims. John went to state in the 100-yard freestyle and the 100-yard backstroke. Last year he went in the 100-yard backstroke. This year he made it in the second event, so we're pretty excited about that. He ended up placing 11th in the 100 free and 13th in the 100-yard backstroke. Lifetime best in his 100 freestyle and just a titch off in the backstroke. But again, he had very tough events that there was a lot of fast guys there this year, as you know too from your friend. A lot of fast people out there nowadays. Just to even make it back to finals for both these guys is a huge accomplishment, just knowing the level of competition out there. A couple other cool things, not only swing-wise, but Jackson's been getting it done in the classroom as well, a 3.6 grade point average. We have another boy who didn't go to state swimming-wise, but he also 3.86 grade point average, Carter Williams. So he, because of his grade point average, he was named Academic All-State and also Academic All-American.
Wow.
Which is a pretty cool deal. And then John here is still maintaining a 4.0, so he got both those awards as well. So, I'm proud to see these guys do it in the classroom as well as, in the pool. I mean, swimming comes and goes, but in the end, to be able to do it in the classroom and to lead the rest of the team and, show an example what they can do is kind of a cool thing. So, that's my
And I know one of you is a senior for sure. I don't know if you both are. So why don't you just share a little bit about what your thoughts are after Hastings?
Well, I intend on going to either Eau Claire or Luther to attend in a nursing program, and then hopefully go beyond that as an anesthetist.
Okay.
I'm going to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities to study engineering.
Okay.
All right.
There we go. People have asked me
Excellent.
about with this one too, if he's going to swim in college. And it's time to move on. Focus on school because it's awfully tough. I did it in college, and it's tough to keep your schoolwork and your athletics too. So you're making the right choice to focus on what's in the future. So it's been great having these guys. I've had them with me since 7th grade. So we've gone through a lot together, a lot of growing up together with these guys, and it's going to be tough to lose them. But move on, and next year starts anew.
Thank you for your leadership in the classroom up at our high school and in the pool as well for our younger student athletes as well. And I know there's 2 pretty proud dads in this room right now, so and rightfully so, because good parenting usually has good results, and you're a product of that too. So congrats, dads, as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, guys. Congratulations.
If you want to tell Josh and the wrestlers,
You bet.
they can swing on in. Josh, you're back again.
Back again, yeah. That's a good thing.
It is.
He just puts the March board meeting on his calendar
It is.
Yeah.
every year.
It is a really good thing for Hastings community television. Josh McClay, our wrestling coach, and two of our outstanding wrestlers that did very well in their careers and at state as well. And I'll let you share a little bit about them and a little bit about your team this year, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Trey Rogers and TJ Pottinger. TJ is a 3-sport captain, and he has been a letter winner 6 years in a row, so 7th grade all the way through I've coached him. Just an absolute great kid in the classroom and out in the classroom. He had a 3.993. He's 7th ranked in his class. Both of these boys were 7.0 or 4.0 up until very recently. And so he was the first to get the A-. Now he has one, so he's got to give it back to him.
The senior letdown. That's terrible.
And then this is Trey. He's a state champion this year. TJ took 3rd. Trey's been on the varsity squad for 5 years. They both run the all tournament team, the Wells Fargo all tournament team. Just absolute great captains, great kids around the school. National Honor Society, Lane Crew, all those things they're involved in. I get teachers all the time talking about their leadership and helping kids in the classroom and just being a good leader and role model. Couldn't have two better captains at this level, period. And very proud of them. Trey's going to be wrestling for Hofstra next year on a full ride scholarship. TJ's going to be wrestling on a scholarship, or not wrestling, he's going to be playing lacrosse on scholarship at Furman University. Funny thing is, after the Christmas tournament this year, the NDSU coach, who was recruiting Trey, goes, "Hey, you never told me about TJ, what's going on with that?" And I'm friends with the head coach up there because we wrestled at the U together, and he was mad at me that I didn't tell him about TJ. I'm like, well, he's playing lacrosse at college. Well, what do you reconsider? So, but then after the state tournament, how well he did there, I had about a dozen other coaches call me, trying to get TJ to go wrestle for him. So it's pretty neat that he, to have those options. But to be a 3-sport athlete like that nowadays is just a little bit more rare than it used to be. And then 2-sport, Trey was the captain of the football team as well. But the team as a whole, we hit the gold standard for academics again, which is obviously important to us with the 3.61 GPA. The team was about the 14th ranked team going to the state tournament, and we ended up placing 6th at state, so we overachieved, which was awesome. The year was just filled with adversity that we hadn't hit in years past. For example, our 106-pound wrestler, who's a returning stud on our team, got hit by a truck, literally. He was on rollerblades, which I have no idea why a wrestler was on rollerblades, but he was near Vermilion Street, had an accident, lived, which is great. We didn't think we were going to have him back this season. And he was a catalyst for this team to go to the state tournament. A bunch of other kids and injuries that we had, sickness, but then came together when it counted. Kids peaked when it counted. I think our full lineup that we had at the state tournament, we finally got like a week before sections, which has never happened before. We usually have our lineup set by the Christmas time at least, but the team just wasn't coming together until late, which was odd. But then in the Egan match in the finals, when it came down to heavyweight, which was awesome. Wasn't awesome in the moment, but the way that it turned out was awesome. Our heavyweight needed a pin for us to go to the state tournament, and he pinned the kid to win, which was just amazing. And then the week later, lost to that same kid in the individual tournament. So he still made it to state, but it was just an awesome way to go. At state, wrestled some tough teams, lost to Anoka, but then we beat Stillwater, who was ranked above us for part of the year, by 20 points. So the kids bounced back really well. Lost a tough one in the 3rd place match to Albert Lee. But kids had a great season. We got 8. We're second most state entrants in the state with 8 state entrants from Hastings. So kids wrestled really well. It was a great season, a great group of kids, losing some unbelievable seniors, so we got some big shoes to fill next year.
Yeah, I was able to go to the team competition. There were some teachers sitting up in my area, and specifically they talked about these two as just unbelievable leaders. And so these are teachers talking about them leaders in the school, not just good wrestlers. So it was good for me as superintendent to hear that from teachers that they've had, and that they're going to really miss you at the high school as well. And I know he's going to really miss you because he's trying to think, how do I replace these two next year? And you don't, but somehow you always find a way because as a coach, your dedication and commitment, you teach them, you're a model for what dedication and commitment can mean. And I think that those two would say that about you as well. So we know where you're going, and congratulations. It's going to help you some financially too as you receive scholarships. But as you go there, what are you thinking of going into?
I'm going to go into pre-med and major in biology. So
I want to be a doctor someday, hopefully.
Yeah, I was looking into pre-med too with a major in chemistry.
Oh, so you're taking easy classes while you're while you're competing Division I. You're also going to take some easy classes as well.
Yeah.
And what weight do you plan on wrestling at college?
I'll probably wrestle 197.
Okay.
So yeah, get a little bigger in the off season, and then that'll be perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
All right.
much for your leadership, and Josh, thank you for once again
Congratulations.
Thanks for having us. Thanks
Um,
for the support.
getting the team up to state. Thank you for your leadership as well. So thanks a lot, and we're wishing you the very best.
All right.
Thank you. And I know that Josh, our Alpine ski coaches couldn't be here this evening, so Josh is going to introduce those student athletes, and then they're going to talk about their season.
Come on in.
Okay, I'll do less talking this time. But these are two student athletes, just great kids. I know them from coaching football, and I know her first cousins wrestle for me, so I know her and her family really well as well. But this is Jack Kateria, 3.947, ranked 25th in his class, both seniors. So not more good quality students as well. Shannon with a 3.6 GPA, both highly involved in the school, great kids. Jack last year blew out his knee, and I don't know if you were going to talk about that at all. Was that last year?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, so he was unable to compete at this level, which really was, I just seen him around school and blowing out my knee as well in college. I knew what that was like and how tough it was to rebound. But luckily he was able to rebound and get back on his feet. The boys team had an outstanding season, I know, and talking to Trent Hansen, they were literally just a run away from being state champions. That's how close that team was this year, which was awesome to hear. Shannon had such a great following, and the boys team too, that a bunch of kids from the high school drove 4 hours up to watch these guys compete. So they had their own cheering section from Hastings High School all the way up there where they competed. That's a pretty neat deal.
Yeah.
And I know that both the boys and the girls team made it. Has that happened in the last?
When we were freshmen, it happened.
Okay,
Mhm.
because that's not something that you do every year. So
Yeah, no, I think us and Stillwater were the only 2 teams in the state to have both their boys and girls team competing.
and here it is March, and we still have snow on the ground. I mean, usually you're begging for snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your plans after. Dave and I know because we just had lunch with you yesterday,
Yeah.
and I walked out of the high school thinking, did I just ask him if he liked to go downhill skiing? Because remember I asked you that question, and I was like, I think that's the kid that made it to state. And I just asked him because he had been out to Big Sky on spring break, and then I said, "Oh, do you like downhill skiing?" And oh yeah, I guess I kind of a little bit. And I was like, "Oh man, that guy's got to think that I am French fries short of a Happy Meal." But your plans, and I know your plans because Dave and I are fortunate, and Russ, to have lunch with you during the student luncheon. But go ahead and share with the board and the community what your thoughts are after high school.
Yeah, next year I'm going to University of North Dakota, and then I'm majoring in aviation. So I'm super pumped about that. It should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. So
Yeah.
And do they have a ski team?
UND doesn't know. I think the closest ski hill is like 4 hours away in Bismarck. So I'll have to maybe like. switch over to
That shows my
cross-country
geography
skiing or
know-ledge as
something.
well.
Yeah.
But they can make ski hills, can't they?
Yeah, I think there's only like one hill in Fargo, which is man-made. That's what my dad always jokes about.
Oh wow, you're going to be a lonely skier then for a while.
Yeah. So I'll come back and ski
Okay.
over break and everything. So
I'm leaning towards the U of M Twin Cities, but nothing's for sure. To major in HR, and then they have a club ski team, which I think I'd join if
Oh,
not there.
nice.
Okay. And what are your thoughts for our teams for next year? I know it's going to be tough for them to go on without you guys, but do we have a lot coming back, or do we graduate a lot?
we're graduating 12 out of the 36 kids. So,
Ooh.
so and then I think 10 out of the 12 are seniors that made it to state. So
Yeah, our girls' state team, it's only one girl will be returning next year.
Okay.
I think
same with the boys,
is the same.
yeah. So I mean, they're still good skiers. They'll just have to step up. I think they'll do well. I think they'll be able to fill our shoes, so just take them a little bit.
Well, as Josh said earlier, leaders in the classroom as well as leaders athletically, and not in a sport where you get a lot of fans coming to the events either. So it's your love and your passion, and then commitment, dedication. You've represented us very well. So thank you very much for that gift to us and representing us well out in the public. So thank you.
Yeah.
We wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh.
Congratulations, thanks. All right. Okay. With that, we're going to move into the, do I have to move to the side again?
Yep,
Move
a
into
little bit.
the, move into the superintendent's report?
I'm going to do bullet number 1 and bullet number 2 together. The board on March 7th was very well aware, but I thought it'd be good to share it with the public as well because this is televised. Kelly Smith was here from Springstead, and he shared with you the process that we went through with selling the bonds. And as you knew as board members, it was a little bit of a roller coaster because the stock market was moving, which was impacting the bonds, and I definitely was a little bit nervous about what percentage rate for those people at home is comparable to going out for a mortgage for your home and all of a sudden finding out that the rate might jump 0.5% or 1%. That can cost quite a bit. And Kelly Smith shared with you as a board that the importance of having our fund balance when we did our review was very critical because you're going out and you're trying to market to these bonds that have to have a confidence with you as a school district that you're financially solvent. And he talked about the fact that because we as a school district have also capped our liabilities, that those are things that get brought up when Kim and I are talking about our bond rating and we're trying to market these bonds out in the public. He shared that probably because of that fund balance, it probably saved us, 10 percentages of a point, which would be $125,000 over the life of the bonds. And $125,000 is still $125,000. So those are a couple of things that he shared. He shared with you that overall our bonds sold for 3.59%. And back when they were trying to do these projections for us in June and July and May and talking to us and our facility committee about how much money we might have and what that percentage might be, the percentage did end up coming in better than what we had anticipated, which is great news for us because now we have $695,000 that we can spend on projects, whatever those projects might be over the next 3 years. And of course, we also know that might get eaten up if projects don't come in on bid or under bid. But the great news is that if they don't come in and bid, and if that part of our bond process changes, then we do have some cushion. So I'm not planning on spending on anything right now because we'll wait to see how our bids start coming in as we start going out for those bids. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. Another thing that because of that percentage over the life of the bonds, it's saving $8.5 million from what we had projected again in June and July. Now we still have to pay quite a bit in interest, but that's fine. At $8.5 million over the life of the bonds is great news for our community as well. Now remember that, and Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, but these bonds over time, if for some reason that percentage rate would get better, we can resell them.
Yeah, they are refundable bonds.
They're
I can't remember the actual date that they said you could refund them, but they are refundable.
we have to wait for a certain period of time before we could, but
Just like we did with the high school.
just like we did with the high school, we did refund. Now, this is a pretty good rate, so I don't know if over the next couple of decades if the rate would get better than that or not, but if it does, the board can then move and resell them. As Deanna is working with technology, I'll just slide. Any other questions about that? But really good news for our community, really good news for us as a school district. It could have been bad news. The stock
Yeah.
market was really, we all know, it was crashing. And I was emailing you saying, oh my goodness, what a terrible time for this to be happening. I hope that it doesn't impact it, and it stabilized and it started to come back, and that impacted the bond market.
Could you talk just a little bit about our rating as a school, our financial rating as a school, and how that played into this as well?
Right. Kelly also shared that our financial rating overall is very strong, and part of that gets tied back to Kim Fry and the processes that she has in place, our audit report, the timeliness of it. Financially, as a district, our voter confidence in us as a school district. So, for example, when they see that over the last decade that our community has approved bonds, not once, but twice, when they see that our community has approved operating levies, that helps our rating. And when you take it, the cap liabilities, the fund balance, what our community has done, the fact that we talk about that the district does make tough choices. When we have to close a school, we do close a school. All that ties into the confidence then when they're going out to people who are interested in purchasing the bonds. On the day that our bonds were being sold, there was also, I believe it was in Oregon, another school district that was selling bonds. So in essence, we're competing with them as well. So if you're a person who's trying to increase your portfolio for your business, you're weighing which school district do I have more confidence in, and so the rating definitely does matter, and Hastings School District has a very strong rating. This is, of our $50+ million bond projects, this will be coming out in an e-news shortly. These are some of the things that are getting geared up to happen right now. We've been meeting, Kim and I and Jen and Jim Huberty, we meet every 2 weeks at minimum with Wold Architects and engineers to make sure that we're on pace. We'll bring in the facility committee about every 8 weeks, so at some point in April here now we'll bring in the facility committee again to hear about how projects are being bid and what we're looking at, et cetera. So replacement of the chiller at the high school, that'll be a pretty straightforward project for those listening. The chiller is your air conditioning. And yes, after 17 years, it's run its course, and also the refrigerant in it is outdated, and we have to upgrade the refrigerant in that as well. We're getting geared up to replace the high school track. They've done soil borings at the high school as we look to bid that project out. Replacement of the east parking lot at the high school. The pneumatic control system at the high school. I know that you don't memorize this stuff as much as I do, but that's over $1 million project. And the pneumatic controls is the computerized system that says, open this damper in this room a little bit, shut this damper in this room, turn the heat up here, more airflow here. It's a very expensive system. It's not quite like at home where you go set the thermostat. It's, so that'll be taking place this summer as well. One that I was hoping to wait on, but it just couldn't wait anymore, specifically with the security. I wanted to tie it into our fire alarm system, but our PA system has been down, so we're getting bids and we're going to move and upgrade our current PA system. Right now, if Mike had to make an announcement of a violent intruder, he would have to run to the head end to make that announcement. And so that's not really necessarily a bond project. That might be something that's coming out of our capital, but it's just something that we needed to do. We're bidding out the surveillance cameras. Those will be put in over the summer. I think the high school will have an additional 20, I want to say, Deanna probably knows this better than I, but around, huh?
Additional
12 there. The middle school will be probably double that or even more.
They already have more,
Okay,
so they're not maybe gonna get as many.
okay.
They have a lot.
Well, see, she knows more than I. And then we're also bidding surveillance cameras at Todd Field, even though that project won't take place until the following year. We're including that in the bid so that we can have some surveillance cameras down there, mainly on the main entrance. And then the McCullough parking lot, we're analyzing that because one of the things that we want to do at McCullough, there is still a tail that goes out onto the main for a short period of time. So Wold is trying to analyze if they can change the parking lot system and the structure of it so that the tail for 2 to 3 minutes doesn't go out onto the main artery. One of the things that Wold has told us is that a lot of school districts are going to where it's mandatory the parents have to come in and pick up their elementary child and they have to check the child out. And so we're weighing whether or not we want to do that. If you do that, then you need a little bit more parking. So then do we increase parking on the back side of McCullough and tell our staff that our staff have to park there because the staff usually get there before the buses and leave after the buses, and then there'd be more parking. And as you can imagine, if we do that, then it's a little helter-skelter. You have to have a system up front for checking out the students as well, or they go to checking out kindergarten and first grade. They go to some type of system, and then the tail doesn't get out to the main drag. So we're analyzing that, and I think because of that, McCullough probably won't be done this year. I believe that McCullough, now might be wrong, but we'll see what Wold comes back with. So those are the main projects that we're getting geared up to go with this summer. And then, as you know, as a board at our last work session, the middle school, which is a huge project, we're definitely going to do that while we are in school, and that will start next summer. So it'll be the following summer, school year, summer, and now we'll start, because you as a board said, yes, let's look to go that direction. We'll start planning for that as well. Any question on the facilities?
You know, this is just the tip of the iceberg with all the projects coming down the line. Are you finding that the bids are matching the budgets pretty well, or?
We're not there yet. We're going to find out.
Okay.
I didn't have did I have the high school roof on there?
No.
Okay, I didn't have the high school roof on there. That will be the first one.
Okay.
And as the facility committee knows, we have a pretty good idea on that one because they went out for some preliminary guesstimates from bidders that they know. And we think that one's going to be underbid. But some of these other projects now will start coming in. And then that's where you as a facility committee will start getting more heavily involved. As we have opening bid day and have choices to make. I'll be the main person sitting at the table on those days, and Jim Huberty. But if it would be that they're coming in over, then we'd have a choice to make. So we're going to know in about 4 weeks. And the high school roof, huge project. If Dan Cater's watching at home, it will be a 30-year warranty. That was one of the main discussion points of that the current roof was a 15-year warranty. We will go with the 30-year warranty. Wold knows already that they're going to bid it 2 ways. One bid will be to do it entirely this summer, and another bid will be to do it maybe this fall and the next spring. And they believe that fall and next spring will give us a better bid on that project because it is such a large project, and contractors are telling them they might not have enough staffing to do that project in 1 year. Any other questions on that? Then I just want to share with board members that, and you know this, that as we look at our elementary boundary lines, I just want to take you back through the timeline on that. And there's never been a school board or there's never been an administration that ever wants to change boundary lines because it does make a change for the youth of our community. But having said that, I knew that this was going to be a year that we as a board would have to seriously look at it. And I was waiting until the enrollment came in this fall, hoping that JFK Elementary would have higher kindergarten numbers and higher first grade numbers. And you know as a board that didn't happen. The higher numbers came in at Pinecrest. Higher kindergarten, higher first grade. And so I knew back in September that was going to be a bad mathematical formula for how we needed to continue to move forward. At that time, we have the bond and levy going on, so I'm not going to be worrying about those enrollment numbers right then. My goal and our goal was to get the bond and the levy passed. That was critical. Then I believe in December, I shared with you as a board that we were going to start analyzing. I was going to be meeting with the transportation company. They were going to be analyzing how many students could we move, where could we move them from. Also at that time, we knew that there were some new board members coming on. So I couldn't be having Dan Cater voting on boundary lines when he wasn't going to be here. I couldn't have Andy Bertram voting on boundary lines when he wasn't going to be here. And I didn't have the data and the information back till January. We get that information in late January, and I see that, the elementary principals see it, and we tell the bus company to go back and work on some different numbers. We wanted another section looked at as well. And then about mid-February, we get those numbers back, and I tell elementary principals it's time to share it with you as a board. Because as superintendent, I need you as a board to have that comfort level first. I can't be going out to the public and saying, hey, we're gonna do this. And you seven say, whoa, wait a minute. So then on March 7th, at a work session, the principals and I come in and say to you, here's what we're looking at. The very next week is spring break. And as soon as spring break is over, which is this week, we're now getting geared up to share that information out with our public and our parents. And so, as you know, I definitely, as superintendent, along with the 3 elementary principals, will be proposing to you as a board to change the elementary boundary lines. And we'll have some time to talk about that yet before our public meeting.
Okay.
So that's my superintendent report for tonight. Any other questions on that? Okay.
Okay, we're going to move into our action items. Do you want me to do a motion and then do you as part of the discussion, or do it after?
Well, I'll just do this
You do the
first,
presentation
and then
first?
we can
Okay.
have it after that.
All right.
This is also out on our website. I'm just gonna do it out of this folder. Okay, so this is the final revised budget for the 17-18 fiscal year. Not every year will you have to revise budgets, only if something bigger isn't settled prior to doing your first revised budget. So, we go to page 2. This always tells you what changed in this budget compared to the last budget. So if you remember, in the first budget that we did for the year, we had done steps for the teachers and we had done benefits for the teachers, but we had no idea for the salary schedule settlement, nor for what coaches, advisors, department chairs would be paid. So this budget was adjusted to $87,926 for the salary schedule and $12,343 for the coaches, advisors, athletics.
Excuse me.
So then if you go to this page number 3, we're always looking, or at least I am, at this bottom yellow line. So what that increase does is an expected reduction of our fund balance by $1,135,746.56%. The second thing that I did was, because the bond passed in this building construction fund, I now put a budget in there. I did the budget prior to the bonds actually being sold, so my number in there for revenue isn't exactly what we ended up getting. And it's gonna be the same way for the expenditures, trying to figure out how much is gonna be spent the remaining of this year, so.
Sure.
But at least there's a budget in there. And then the last thing that was done, if you go to page 17, we added a detailed report on how staff development dollars are calculated and how they're budgeted. So basically, if you go to the top here, staff development, it's a law that you have to set aside a certain amount every year for staff development dollars. And the way it's calculated is it takes your adjusted pupil units, which this will change a little bit when the year's final, but our estimated pupil units for this year was 4,806.60. That's multiplied by the formula. So our basic revenue was $29,743,240.80. And they say you have to reserve 2% of that for staff development. So that comes to the $594,8 64s. And basically what it is, we have to code it to staff development code, so when our tape goes up to the state, they know what you spent on staff development. And so we actually have two different budgets for staff development. The 239,092 is what you've always seen before, but not the detail on it. And the detail is right below. These are all the different buildings or programs where there's a certain amount of staff development dollars budgeted for them. If they don't spend those dollars, they can carry it over into the next year. So this second column here is what they carried over from last year. And then those two added together becomes their budget for this current year. So the designated budget below is the 239,092. 272,451 is what they carried over from prior years. And then the remaining amount is a chargeback based on the staff development days that the district has. And other than that, there was nothing else that was changed in this budget. If there's not any questions, then Lisa can do her.
Okay. And I'm just looking on the district website. So if somebody was at home and wanted to go
Yeah.
read page
Okay, so
17,
I can do it up on
Yep.
here if you want to see that.
okay, if you have time,
Yep.
or if it's functioning.
Kim, just a quick question. I saw that we had like $270-some thousand in carryover from previous years. At what point, or is there a point where that money no longer carries over?
No, it's a reserved account.
Okay.
It
So-
carries over. It has to be spent on some type of staff development.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Well, Firefox is.
And we also know our
here, so-
Firefox is out of date.
Yeah.
But according to that, it's still blazing
Yeah.
fast. So,
Even when it's out of date.
I think they measure differently.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I didn't want to chase, I don't
Okay,
want
so
to
if
chase
you-
on the rabbit
if
hole,
you
but
go
you
to
go
the-
on the front
Yeah, if
page.
you go to the district's website, there's a taskbar where it says departments.
Yep.
I think.
Yep, departments and services.
Yeah, if you go down to finance.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then on the left-hand side, you go to budgets.
Yep.
And then on the right-hand side, you'll see the budgets.
Yep, and then you can open it up and see both the budget publications
Okay,
and
so
those.
now here it's up.
Yeah.
So, department and services,
Mm-hmm.
you go to finance. And then on the left-hand side here, you go to budgets.
It's working.
It's slow. Okay, so here you'll see a folder with all the 17-18 budgets, and there's one with 16-17. We want to go in the 17-18. And so right here at the top, you see the budget that you're approving.
Mhm.
But also in here was the adopted budget that you approved, the first revised budget you approved. And this budget publication is something that we have to publish per statute. So,
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know that that's always out there. So if anybody's says, oh, I wonder about,
yeah.
you know, that information is always out there. And I know I find myself a couple, 3 times a year digging back in there to help answer a question for somebody. It's quite accessible and surprisingly readable. And again, just to be clear, at this point, we have a tentative agreement with the teachers union, which is why we're moving forward with the revised budget too. So that'll progress over time, but surprisingly enough, it's time to be worrying about future year budgets in quite a bit of detail, and so we need the most solid base we can get. We want to have the most current information possible. So with that, we're going to move into our action items for this evening. The first of which is, I'd like to request a motion to approve the revised budget, number 2, for 2017-18, that was just presented by Kim.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our second action item is a motion to approve Health Partners as our self-funded dental insurance provider with a 5-year administrative fee guarantee of $5.80. That's per person, not total. 2018-19 through 2022-23. Could I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I just want to share that these 4 recommendations all come out of our self-funded health insurance committee, which several teachers sit on. Lisa sits on, Scott, some administrators, Kim, Jen, a pair as well. So that these are coming to you from our committee, and we're supporting them as well.
Yeah, just one comment on this one. If I remember correctly, we received a slightly lesser bid, but due to just history with Health Partners and our happiness as a district with Health Partners, we said, you know what, it's not worth it. We're going to stay there.
Yeah,
So,
we valued the service that they provide us
Yeah.
and the consistency of practice across the years. Yeah, we really
But
appreciate that.
The better one, the 580 was the lower amount for the administrative costs. Where the other company came in, they were saying that they could save us more money based on their discounts, which
Right.
they
Which
which they couldn't.
was nebulous, yes.
Right.
Right. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve increasing the premium for self-funded health insurance by 0% for the 2018-19 school year.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in, sorry, did I?
I was just going to say thrilled. If I would not bet $1 on this 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 3 years ago. I mean, so I'm thrilled at this 0%.
Absolutely.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Fourth action item tonight, could I get a motion to approve increasing the premium for self-funded dental insurance by 0% for 2018-19 and 2019-2020?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our fifth action item tonight, did I get a motion to approve the stop-loss increase from Preferred One for single from $30.82 to $33.58, and for family from $77.55 to $84.54 for the 2018-19 school year?
Make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Just a quick.
Yeah,
Is it-
you
For what?
want to give a rundown what that is?
May be viewing this. So the stop loss increase, what this is the essentially reinsurance that we purchase. So if a claim, if what is deemed to be a single occurrence claim goes up to $200,000, that is covered by our primary insurance. Every dollar above $200,000 falls to this stop loss reinsurance. So that's what this premium goes towards, is purchasing that. As you heard, the rates for single and the rates for family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that does look like an increase of about 10%. Well, that doesn't look like it, it is. Just to be aware, so that we are seeing increases in some elements of our, we're doing it with inside our existing premium,
Sure.
but we're just distributing some up to this.
Yep, and that's in healthcare, it really doesn't take long. Anybody who's
Yeah.
had anyone,
Single
had
event.
the unfortunate instance of being in the hospital or having a loved one in the hospital for a period of time, it doesn't take long to hit $200,000 in charges. So,
All right. Is there any further discussion? Thanks for that clarification,
yeah,
Scott.
no
I'm
problem.
slowly but surely coming to understand some of this language.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe not so surely, but certainly slowly. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our sixth action item for tonight, could I have a motion to approve the standard, that's a name, the standard, as the group life insurance provider with a 3-year rate guarantee at 23.31% reduction. That is, for reference sake, an annual savings of $13,857. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our 7th action item is similar. I'd like to receive a motion to approve the Standard, again, that's a company name, as the long-term disability insurance provider at a 3-year rate guarantee at a 37.5% reduction, which indicates an annual savings of $58,558. Could I get a motion in a second?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, I thought maybe you were
Well,
preparing to discuss.
I was going to ask Kim to discuss a little bit of how, what she did, the process she went through to make sure that we got a $58,000 savings each year for the next 3 years. Kim, you just want to share a little bit about that?
We had been with another agent and we were on a 3-year guarantee rate. And so that was up at this year, at the end of this year, so we went out for bids. And they came in pretty good.
And by law, would we have had to have gone out for bids or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do after, a certain amount of time.
Okay.
Okay, terrific. Well, that's great news. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, now we're going to move into some motion action items related to staffing. Could I get a motion in a second to approve the resignation of a couple of individuals?
Motion.
Second. Thank you. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, I'd like to have a motion to approve the leaves for 5 individuals. Can I get a motion in a second?
So move. Second. Go ahead, Joe.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I would like to point out our agendas are always linked on that same webpage that Kim started from on the head page. Go into About Us. About Us is school board, and then the meeting minutes are on, or both the minutes are on there and our agendas. So if you're, as an individual, interested in looking at this list of names at any given month, it's out there. It's available. Our 10th action item for tonight is a motion to approve the retirement of 2 individuals. Could I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I just want to share with board members that a DAPE teacher position is very difficult to find.
No.
It's a specialized certification, and there are not many teachers that go into that field because it's, each school district probably only has 1 or 2 DAPE teachers, so it's not like there's a lot of positions. So we may struggle. We currently have 1 individual. We do have other teachers that are certified, and we have one that's going for certification that's on a variance right now. So we'll see where, I just want to let you know, we'll see where that plays out.
Any further discussion?
Thank you for their many years of
Yes,
service.
Yeah.
many years
30
of
years.
service. Yeah,
It's fantastic.
exactly. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a motion, our 11th action item is a motion to approve a change in assignment. It's listed in the agenda. Could I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
I just want to share to remind board members, when you see that asterisk, we have a policy that anybody that gets hired after January. After January, they get placed on their step, but then they don't move another step the next year. So they're beyond the midpoint, so then they remain on that step. So that's what that means.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our 12th action item, 12th and last action item, is a motion to approve the employment of the following. I have 6 people listed as new employees. Could I get a motion in a second?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Here again, we see the asterisks. We're hiring a number of individuals following the mid date of the year. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under other business, we have some upcoming meeting dates. Our work session is the 11th of April, and that's going to be at the high school.
At the high school.
Where at
And-
the high school?
Well, it will be in the conference room by Mike Johnson's office right up on the main floor.
Start there.
And I can't remember, it's, I want to say Bowls for Hunger, Bert Cass.
Oh, Empty Bowls.
Empty Bowls.
Oh, I forgot that's
And
at the same
so
location.
For
Yeah,
board
yeah, yeah.
members who want to come, I plan on going there at 5:30.
Yep.
For a $10 recommended donation, you get a bowl and some chili, I believe, and I've usually just bought the bowl in the past, or made my donation.
Okay, I would like to make a recommendation for the chili and the soups. I don't know why you're just getting a bowl. when There's perfectly good chili and soup there.
So any
I've
board
always found
members
it
who, and I'll put
fabulous.
this in an email to you, but Ann, I know you're coming to, or that's where we'll be too, so. So at 5:30 we'll meet down, or I'm gonna go down in the commons area, and then I'll come back up at 6 o'clock, and we'll have our work session there with Mike Johnson leading the first hour of it.
Okay, terrific. And then those of you who are on the high school student lunch group, your next date is the 17th. And then our next full board meeting is scheduled for the 25th of April back here at 6 o'clock.
Yep, and then the last item, the last Wednesday was such a marathon day with the work session. I gave you just a light overview of our tentative agreement. I just want to spend some time in closed session just giving you a more thorough detail of our tentative agreement, so that I know that there's teachers representatives here. I know that they're having meetings this week, and then there's a timeline where they'll vote, I don't know, next week. Next Tuesday, Wednesday. And so I want to make sure that all of you as board members know everything that's in that tentative agreement, so that when that vote comes back, and I'm hopeful that it'll be positive, then that at our April board meeting, I won't spend a lot of time on it. We'll just move forward with approval of it that evening. So we'll take about probably 15 minutes in closed session just to go through in more detail all the items of the tentative agreement.
Okay. Terrific. Do I need to do a motion a second to go to close?
Yeah.
Okay. Could I get a motion a second to go to a close?
Motion. Second.
We're not going to discuss it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And we'll go right next door.